And we're on. We're back. Thank you, everybody. Paul Joseph has joined our meeting, so I'll let everybody know that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So item 5, citizens' comments. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on something not currently on tonight's agenda?
Yes.
The only
That doesn't require a vote from the board. Right.
Oh, God.
Come on up.
No,
Not in tonight.
Hi, Joe.
Hello.
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing? I'm just here for moral support.
Thanks for the support.
Some of you might know me already, but for those who don't, my name's Joe Garagno. I've been a resident of Dudley for 19 years, and I'm here to talk about an initiative that I am pushing for in the town, which is a ban on single-use plastic bags. So the main reason I've been wanting to do this is because I'm very concerned about the environment and the effect that plastic bags have on them. Plastic bags have been used for a long time in mass quantity, but as a result, there have been a lot of negative environmental effects. There's massive pollution in our waterways, on the sides of roads. These bags can rarely ever be recycled, and most of them end up in the waste stream. These bags take approximately 200 years to break down, so they're in the environment for a very long time. Much of the production that goes into these plastic bags release toxic chemicals into the air, which lead to many of the environmental problems that we face on a global scale and on a local scale. And also the plastic, when they're on the sides of roads and in the waterways, animals oftentimes consume these products, and as a result, they choke, they suffocate, and it leads to the deaths of many animals. And also the chemicals in the bags have been linked to a number of health issues, gallbladder issues, liver issues, and you can name them. There's a lot of even human health issues which go into this. And I'm pushing for an initiative in the town which is going to be voted on May 23rd during the annual town elections. And I'll hand this to each of you because the specific ban that I'm pushing for is exactly what Auburn did a few years ago. And I'm just looking to join along with 140 other municipalities in Massachusetts which have done this, and many other states which have done this, countries even. And I'll hand this to each of you because it pretty much is the exact provision that I am looking to do here.
Thanks, Joe.
Get one more
Thank
copy
you.
for you. So pretty much the details of the ban, that to see if the town on May 23rd will vote to ban single-use plastic bags for checkout purposes at retail stores and restaurants. Paper bags will still be allowed, and reusable bags will be strongly encouraged to be used. The only plastic bags that are allowed are dry cleaning bags, produce bags, or bags at the meat and seafood counters, but overall the ones that are used for checkouts at restaurants and retail stores, if passed, would be banned. And I'm also here because I understand that there are a number of questions for me regarding this initiative, whether it's about the bags or whatever. So I would be more than glad to answer those questions to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for that introduction. Board members, anybody have any questions for Joe and his initiative? Mr. Johnson?
No, I don't have any questions.
Mr. Sullivan?
I want to just give Joe credit for bringing this forward. I know it's a process to get a warrant article. You got to go before other boards in town, and certainly give you A for the initiative to bring this forward.
He's also taken the initiative of buying bags for the elderly in the town, because it's been brought up that it may be a concern financially for people. So he's already done the initiative with the senior center here, bought hundreds of bags to them. And he's gonna continue to do that on a regular basis, a couple times a year, and he does it out of his own pocket, so, and they're all, I've done some research on this, you know, trying to help him out with this. And the town can get grants from the government to cover costs and things as far as regulating it and everything, paying someone to regulate it and to subsidize the cost of the bags. I know Auburn is doing it, and like he mentioned, other municipalities are doing this. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, I'm all for it myself. You know, I'm biased. I mean, I'm his father, but I think it's a good thing for his generation and generations afterward because of what's going on. But like I said, I mean, he's taking his own initiative here, you know, spending his own money. So, I mean, it is important to him, but I think it is important to the town to pretty much, you know, get up to date with what's going on with climate, you know, because I think we're a little behind on that. Yeah. This is my first time in 23 and a half years I've been living in this town. It's the first time I've ever come to a town meeting. So I'm looking around and see where my tax dollars are going there.
Right?
And give the guys in blue a raise, please.
Well, the good thing is your tax dollars already paid for this. So now the dollars just
Hey, I don't mind paying taxes if it's going to a good place,
Right.
especially to the
So-
men in blue.
So we'll get you at the town meeting at least too, right? So we're gonna get you twice in 1 year.
Yeah, I know.
Gary, you have anything? to
Take
do?
care of our men in blue, please.
Yes.
No, good on you, Joe. This is how government works. People come forward with an idea and it gets voted up or down. This is how it works, so good on you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for Joe?
Just look, I had a couple questions.
Oh, go ahead.
It's pretty impressive that you come forward and have to go through this and put it on a warrant, and you're gonna have to probably speak at the town meeting
Yep.
in defense of this. How did you get to the point of banning rather than to suggest alternate use? Can I,
So there was an alternate suggestion that was presented, which was the incentivization option, but I considered my options, and I believe that the ban was most effective for a couple reasons. One was that this is something that's already been tried all around. 140 other municipalities, entire states have done it, entire countries have done it. And I think that this is the most impactful and the best, the most favorable way to go about it. And I believe with more of a incentivization option, I feel like it could cause a little bit of confusion, because you may have a number of businesses that say no, a number that say yes, and everybody's kind of confused in the mix. I just believe that the ban has been tried already all over the world, and I think that this town should be the next one to take that step forward.
okay. Have you had a chance to talk to any businesses that use plastic bags regularly and see what that impact would be on them?
So not specifically yet, but, I do understand that there's some concerns about the transition and stuff, but businesses will still be allowed to use paper bags under this, and cloth reusable bags would be strongly encouraged. And, you know, I haven't spoken to them yet.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, there's a playbook out there already. I mean, Auburn has a playbook on this, how they deal with with the businesses in their town. I mean,
Yeah,
and like I said, I mean, he's taking his own initiative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he's putting his own money out there. You know what I'm saying? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
if-
and it's not a one-time deal that he's looking at, you know.
So-
My son's been contributing to the town for
Right.
about 8 years as far as the homeless and everything, so it's not like a one-time deal for him.
So, Mr. Chairman, I keep going. So, I don't want you to read anything into this, except the fact that he's going to be on the town meeting floor trying to defend this and make it pass. And this is
Right.
about as docile as it's gonna
Right,
get.
right.
So, my suggestion would be a few things. The question about who's gonna enforce this is gonna come up.
Yeah.
The Board of Health has already said they're not gonna enforce it. So you've gotta be prepared to answer that question. And you also have to be prepared to think on your feet in terms of maybe making an amendment at the last minute and a compromise to your article so that it will pass. Because a piece of the pie is better sometimes than getting no pie at all, right? So I would be ready with some alternative wording to your article that maybe gets closer to where you wanna be without it failing altogether. That's just my advice.
Well, as far as like, the Board of Health not enforcing it, it's because of lack of funds?
Well,
It's just
of
that-
all the things that they
or is it
enforce, I
just-
don't
Or
think
is
that,
it something else? I mean, it's,
well, we have one Board of Health agent,
right,
and it's with an IMA, which is an intermunicipal agreement with Webster, we share her. We pay a portion of her salary, they pay a portion. And she's got so much to do right now with just keeping the restaurants inspected and so forth, and catching up with things that kind of fell behind with COVID, that it's not reasonable to think that she'd be able to go around and enforce whether or not this would happen. But if you went to the town meeting and said, I talked to a few businesses, they'd be willing to voluntarily do something like this, or they'd be willing to have a further discussion. I don't want you to leave there empty-handed.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
I think all he's looking for is to get a vote on it, and if the town people choose to enact this, then they do. If they don't, at least he's trying to do something positive, I think. I
Absolutely.
think that's what he's trying to do.
Absolutely.
As far as funds, like I said, I did some research on it, and the playbook's already out there. I mean, other towns are getting funds from the federal government to enact these things. I don't know what the town here is doing, as far as that's concerned. Maybe the Board of Health can request funds so they can hire someone to enforce it if it does get passed. I mean, he's not trying to, he's just going by a playbook that's already out there. He's not trying to do his own
Right.
initiative on this. He's going by an initiative that's already
Yeah.
taking place in other municipalities.
The
so.
initiative is basically that I'm pushing for is exactly what Auburn did. So any
Right.
questions about it, Auburn already has the answer for that.
Right. I mean, I know we're independent from them, but, I mean, they're a town or two over, so. But, I mean, it seems like it's more funds than anything, which is understandable. And I know that the town has other things that they're more worried about than something like this. Like our roads and like paying the men in blue, our firemen and all that stuff, you know? But,
I think it's a great
yeah,
initiative for the
I'm sure
environment.
we could look into it before the vote, and see if we can talk to some things. Joe's been busy lately, he's graduating in another week and stuff. He's got a lot of schoolwork that's going on and things like that, so. But I'm sure that we can talk to a couple of big businesses that will be more impacted on this, like Park and Shop and things like that, I mean, those are the ones that are gonna be impacted. But like I said, I mean, he's taking initiative in other ways, I mean, going to the senior center, giving out reusable bags that last, if you take care of them, up to 2 years.
Right, and that's
You know.
progress.
And that's something that, like I said, he's gonna continue to do. I mean, it's not a one-time deal, so, I mean,
And also be ready to answer, like, what are the switching costs for a given business if they convert over?
right. Yeah, I mean, that's, we just haven't had the time.
No, I understand,
It's been like
we
kinda-
love that, I love that Joe did this, I mean,
Yeah,
just
it's-
showing, like, to carry.
I do too, I mean,
Just to
it's,
say how the process works, but just, I wanna make sure that,
yeah, I'm just happy that it got on the ballot for him, I mean, I think the town should vote on it, and if the people decide they want it, they want it. If they don't at this time, that's fine too, I mean, it's nothing personal.
right,
It's just something that his generation, I think, is looking to do. And when
Yeah.
I have grandkids, I wanna hope that the planet is here for them too,
Yeah,
so.
And also in my generation, I think that also when I went to the senior center, they were very concerned as well. They were, a lot of them, a portion of them were also using reusable bags, because even that generation's consider it, my generation especially, but I think all generations are concerned about this, and concerned about their futures. And this is pretty much what this whole thing's all about, is I'm looking to change our practices so that we can have a more sustainable future.
You know, I think what Mr. Ruda was saying, Mr. Chair, if you did talk to like a parking shop, maybe even Walgreens, probably
Right.
two biggest ones in our town.
Right.
And maybe they could, and probably be a fee involved, but they could maybe have a certain amount of paper stock as an option. And you could, maybe your bylaw, if it does pass, you could, like he was saying, be quick on your feet to amend. If they seem amenable to that, you might be able to get up at the town meeting and say, we're not outright banning it. I've spoken to large businesses in town, they're willing to offer it as an option, and some people probably would take it.
Right.
I mean, that's what I think Mr. Ruda was saying about
Yeah,
tweaking it on the floor, as opposed to people just saying no.
right, I'm sure it's gotta be a transition
Right.
to this. It can't just be one thing and then one day people are like, I can't use these bags.
Well,
I don't think that's gonna be fair either. you know?
And it might pass, you never know.
No, but
Might
one of the
pass.
things some towns are doing is they're actually charging you want paper bags as a per.
Right, they
as a
charge you
per
like
bag
10
fee.
cents or something.
Right, so I
No
mean,
big,
that's,
I know Big Y in Southbridge does it,
right,
things like that, I mean. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to, we've been trying to put our heads together,
Right.
trying to figure out how they can offset that. So I know parking shop, I mean, it's like a market basket and stuff, I mean, you know, they already, for people to shop there, it's more or less just in the town, you know, that give them the support.
Right.
You know, I mean, the price is a little pricey there already, and I understand their situation, they're in a tough spot. And we definitely don't wanna lose them as a consumer in this town, I
Right.
mean, you know. But I think there's definitely options out there, so. Hey, thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
hold on one
Got
second.
one guy calling in.
Okay.
Hold on, go, Paul. Hey, Paul, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, are either one of these gentlemen a resident of Dudley?
Yeah.
We both are.
Yes, I've been a resident since 1998. It's my first town
Okay.
meeting. I stay out of politics. I'm just here for
So they're
moral
both
support.
residents of Dudley, is that correct?
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
Under what guise or name, who would be the sponsor of the article, for the town meeting?
Citizens
Would it be
petition.
these two? Would it be a corporation? Would it be the Board of Selectmen? Board of Health? Help me with
It would
that.
be, Paul, it would be a citizen's petition, and it would be the two gentlemen here.
Okay,
Father and son, Paul.
Father and son, yeah, okay.
Joe, I've known you long time through Scouts. Appreciate your following your passion. Not a lot of people do, so becoming involved, and you'll find out in a town meeting, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know, bone up, be prepared, and for everyone else that's listening, you know, these are some issues that are at town meeting, right? You should be at town meeting to discuss budgetary issues. You should be at town meeting to vote on citizens petitions. And there's a number of amendments that everyone should be hopefully at the meeting and voting up or down. So please show up for town meeting.
Thank you. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
and thank
Good
you,
luck, guys.
ladies.
See you on the 23rd.
Yep.
Okay,
Both of yous, we hope.
yeah, we'll be there.
Oh, also, for a gift for each of you, I brought free cloth reusable bags.
Oh, look at that.
Only if it's
Well,
in
you're
value.
under 25.
Only if it's in value, under $25, we can't take it.
No, it's under $5.
I know.
It's 98 cents each. I don't even think 98 cents. And one last thing, please,
Would this article just need a simple majority or a two-thirds
That's a
majority?
good question. Paul.
Simple majority.
Simple majority, Paul.
Thank you, sir.
No
Appreciate it.
problem. Yeah, it's not zoning, so, okay.
That
Thank
lady
you,
wants
guys.
to
Hey,
shut the
people in
color.
blue, please.
Yes, we do.
Did she get one already?
Yeah, she
We
did.
do. We have,
I'll take the
public
Chevrolet.
safety is number one.
Oh, Shepherd, I didn't see that.
Yep. Good to see you guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Take care, guys.
Hey, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Mr. Joseph.
before they leave, can they give a copy of that report proposal?
Yes, we have it.
to me?
Yeah, we have it. Michelle will bring it over.
Okay.
Email it. Thank you. All right.
Speaking of reusable bags.
Item 6, Town Administrator's Report. Jonathan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A quick update on our new website. The design is, we've decided on the final look of it. It's completed as of today. The design is being applied, and we'll begin working with Civic Plus, the people who are designing our new website, on running through the testing protocol. The final warrant is ready, just about ready to be posted. A few tweaks at the last minute happened this afternoon. There was one article that was added. That was the acceptance of some land in the Tobin Farm area that should have been accepted back in 2002, so we're straightening that out. The Board of Selectmen will have the opportunity to vote on whether or not to recommend that prior to the town meeting on the 23rd. And we'll go through the warrant like we usually do, just to be, one more time, just to be on the safe side. Jeff can probably speak more about this, but we did have a competitive bid opening for the Mason Road project, and the bid was awarded. Recently, we've got the ability to move forward with that. It came in just under what we got our grant amount for, so we did pretty well with that. Shouldn't cost us anything.
Fantastic.
If there's any questions of the board, I have a pretty brief report.
David.
Just on the Tobin question, is that the land around, wasn't around the dam or something up there?
It's around the dam. The town owns the dam, so we're not accepting a dam.
It involved an easement to get to the,
It involved an easement, and there's always a problem, and I think part of this town meeting will correct some of that in the bylaw, where we need to be able to get to things to maintain them, so going forward, we need an easement, or we need to own a piece of property in a development in order to get over to it, to maintain that. This remedies that problem, that last minute article, accepting that land. And I appreciate Rich in the 11th hour working with me to make sure that all the i's were dotted and t's were crossed to get that on the warrant.
so that's not the front by the mosquito pond, because it looks like people have a tendency to drop grass clippings in there. Is that town-owned property? Is that?
I'd have to take a specific look, I'm not sure unless Jeff knows off the top of his head.
But the piece we're talking about is access to where that dam is. 'Cause I remember that when I was on the planning board.
Mr. Carignani.
Oh, that,
Good evening. Quickly, that pond is owned by the town right now. The piece that's being accepted is now accessed through the power lines on, is it Shine Ave? Where you have to go through, across someone's property to get to the spillway. You own the dam and a portion on one side. You need to own the other half for maintenance purposes. I don't believe you can just own the dam. You need to be able to own the earth next to it to perform whatever you needed to. I want to say this circles back to 98, 96.
Like the
When
last
the
time
dam
we
was
had it
originally
2000.
taken,
it's gifted by
Almost.
Stevens,
yes.
roundabout way. Yeah.
Yes, it was. I believe your answer, Mr. Sullivan, is the town owns it. That would be almost the corner of Pierpont and Dudley, Oxford.
More on the other corner, going onto towards Shepherd Hill, like on the right there, after Pierpont.
Oh.
Just looks like there's a lot of
It
stuff
would be,
there.
it would be the same pond,
difference.
whatever the meets and bounds are. However, that was carved out for conservation.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
Jeff, anything else you on that? Okay,
It's good for my report, Mr.
that's
Chair.
it?
I'm good.
Motion to accept?
Motion to accept the town administrator report as presented.
Motion by Mr. Sullivan, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Roll
Aye.
call.
Oh, roll call, right?
Roll call.
Stephen
Roll call.
Sullivan, aye.
Carrie Sigenovich,
Paul Joseph, aye.
John Marcy, aye, unanimous. Thank you. All right, and we'll move on to new business. Mr. Wheelock is here. Dudley Conservation Land Trust is going to request a parking waiver on Center Road for Saturday, May 14th, 2022, from 9 to 2 near the Black Tavern, the first annual Dudley Grows Together plant pot. Mr. Wheelock.
Mr. Chairman, you remember that we put this over because
Yes.
it didn't specifically appear on the last
Yes.
agenda, so.
Yes, and Mr. Wheelock was very patient with us on that.
Well, again, this is the Dudley Ag Commission, first annual Dudley Grows Together Farm plant hop. We have a bunch of, I'm here representing the Black Tavern, the Dudley Conservation Land Trust, and the Dudley Grange. So, like I said, we're just looking for a parking waiver from 9 till 2 on Saturday, so that we can participate with the Ag Commission.
Mr. Chair, standard question, police and fire, don't have a problem with it.
Jay?
Make a motion to, for the parking waiver, to approve a parking waiver on Center Road for Saturday, May 14th, 2022, from 9 to 2 p.m. near the Black Tavern for the first annual Dudley Grows Together plant hop.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Sigenovich. Any other discussion?
We'll see you there, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hearing none, roll call vote.
Johnson, aye.
Carrie Sigenovich,
Stephen Sullivan, aye.
Paul Joseph, aye.
John Marcy, aye, unanimous. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Good
All
luck,
right,
make
see
some
you.
money.
Yep.
Have a good night.
You too.
We want to make sure everybody comes out and supports Dudley agriculture also, okay?
All right. Thank you. All right. 7B, Mass DOT Traffic Control Agreement, and the Selectmen will vote to approve agreement with MassDOT for signage at Brandon and Schofield. Jeff.
So we received a notice through Mass DOT. This is actually funded through a federal aid project, and there'll be some signage and traffic controls put into place at Schofield Ave and at Brandon Road, West Main Street at Patterson Ave, West Main Street at Conan Ave, and West Main Street at Dudley Hill Road. And these will be done through MassDOT, and then the town will become responsible for any of the maintenance issues and upkeep with perpetual upkeep after that. So again, it's implemented through the Mass DOT, but it's actually a federal aid project. Also, the RAP funding program, the Winter Recovery Assistance Program, that the governor released $100 million at the beginning of April. Town has received their apportionment, or notice of the apportionment, and it's pending a notice to proceed with a contract due from the state, but we received $274,000 in supplemental funds to the Chapter 90 apportionment. So it'll allow us to do some full-depth reclamation of Dudley-Oxford Road from the Oxford line towards Henry Marsh Road, and then from there an overlay project. So it's about in total between that and the Chapter 90 project, we should be able to achieve about, give or take, 6,000 linear feet of roadway on Dudley Oxford Road. So it'll be a substantial project.
Great.
Also, the betterment program that we've been working on, we have estimates that we've gotten in from the consultant engineer. We've been going through and reviewing those. We're actually going to be meeting with town administrator and the assessor's office, and we'll be bringing those forwards to meet with the residents of those neighborhoods that are gonna take part in the betterment program, and we'll have a cost analysis for either a gross value per resident or tax, the tax impact, what they can see with the amortization schedule over the 20-year period. So they'll be able to, readily make a decision on taking part or not in the program, and then those three will be on the warrant for the town meeting on the 23rd. So, that pretty much wraps up what I have.
Okay, questions, Mr. Sullivan?
So Jeff, when you talked about the beginning of your presentation, the Patterson Ave and Cohen and all that, what does that just mean? There's gonna be stop signs there?
Depending on the actual intersection, there's various things. So right now, at the end of Brandon Road, Dudley Hill, there'll be signage, and they don't describe exactly what they'll be doing, but I assume some of those areas will receive crosswalks where there aren't any right now.
Okay.
Signage, maybe even lit signage, and at the Schofield Ave intersection on the south side facing north, there'll be additional control for, right now I don't think there's anything that exists as far as a walk
Right.
a walk signal, so there'll be installation of that as well. So they don't fully describe in detail exactly what measures are gonna be put in place, but there's just a brief overview of the areas that'll be covered.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Board members, what's your pleasure?
And then, just on top of this too, while I'm here, I wanted to cover any of the other things, but there, as John mentioned before, with the property that's being taken by the town over on, or accepted at Tobin Farms, there is a warrant article on the town meeting warrant to define how easements are granted for access and care and maintenance for any of the detention basins or drainage or anything like that. So it just clarifies some of the existing language there. So
I'm good.
that's,
I guess we need to vote on this, guys.
Paul,
Paul, you have any questions for Jeff?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Johnson?
Make a motion to approve agreement with Mass DOT for signage at Brandon and Schofield.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Sigenovich. Question, it's beyond just that, that's just what's in there's more than just Brandon and Schofield, right?
It's called the traffic.
Traffic control agreement?
traffic control.
Drive the streets.
Okay.
So update the motion to say, vote to approve the agreement with Mass DOT for signage at Brandon and Schofield and traffic agreement,
And the rest of the traffic agreement?
and the rest of the traffic agreement.
I'm good with that.
Okay, good. Motion by Jay, second by Kerry. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Jay Johnson, aye.
Gary Sigenovich, aye.
Stephen Sullivan, aye.
Paul Joseph, aye.
John Marcy, aye, unanimous. Jeff, thanks for that. That's fantastic. Fantastic. All right, item 8, board members' comments. Kerry?
I don't know who the group of people were on Mother's Day in about 5 p.m.-ish. Someone was picking up trash on the side of the road across from Piasta Road and up towards the walking trail, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. It's nice to see, I mean, we see it all the time, but it's nice to see it yet again, people taking pride in their community, so whoever that was, I saw you. That's it.
Thank you, Kerry. Steven?
Mr. Chair, just, fire chief's not here, and far be it for us to speak for him, but I had a chance to hit the Mother's Day flower sale at the, fire department headquarters, and, was very well attended. I know I got there early Sunday morning and had another truck of stuff come in. And it looked like they were gonna sell out again, and Mr. Wheelock's still here. I hope the people that patronize the flower sales at the fire department can find their way up to the Black Tavern and contribute to another good cause.
Fantastic. Jay?
Just remind everyone about, town meeting. It's a chance for, the town to voice their opinion on, some very important topics to the town. You heard a few of them mentioned by Mr. Murray. This is how we end up deciding some of the key points to the way the town moves forward. So, please attend.
Well said, Mr. Johnson. For me, it is election season coming up in Dudley. I call it silly season. I just want to remind everybody, all those candidates to put out signs. Put your signs up. Don't touch anybody else's signs. That goes for a resident. Just people spend money on those. Ask for permission before you put them out when needed, and just everybody have a good time with that.
And make Mr. Massey to follow up too. Stay off town property, don't put it on the veteran monuments. Don't be upset if people, they put them there and they get removed. Generally, the highway department, or I've picked them up a few times at Dudley Road, Dudley Oxford and Charlton Road. They don't belong there.
Don't affix them to poles.
Yep, don't affix them to
And
poles.
don't fix the poles.
And don't be upset if you put them in the wrong place and they get taken down.
Right. Thank you. That's all I had. Departments, Jeff, anything else?
Paul.
Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. Paul, anything?
Yeah, let me take a few seconds to do this now, rather than at the, May 23rd annual town meeting, which will be my last official function. I wanna say that, number one, I wanna thank Selectman Sullivan for his recent, open and quite frankly flattering and humiliating, humbling letter to the editor. The humbling letter to the editor of the Webster Times. Stephen's eloquence in that letter, quite frankly, exceeded any eloquence I may have had over 18 years. I want to thank the people of Dudley for voting me for 18 years of service. It's been greatly appreciated. I want to thank this Board of Selectmen and all those that I've served with, all the way back to Tony DiDonato. It's been an honor, it's been a pleasure, it's been a great learning experience, and that I love the people of Dudley, the town of Dudley, and each of you guys, all the way back. So, once again, thank you to everyone. God bless America, and God bless the town of Dudley. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I think we may, yeah. Stephen?
Well, Paul, don't sell yourself short. You spoke eloquently, forcefully, and passionately every time when you had something to say. And like I said in my letter, and I say it to you, whether you liked your opinion, agree with it, disagree with it, you always had an opinion, and at the end of the day, you did what was right in your opinion for the people of Dudley. And to paraphrase Paul, and I know you can correct me because you help me all the time, you and I weren't always right, but we were seldom wrong. I
Gary?
stole that from you.
Gary?
Paul, yeah, it's been good to have you on the board, Paul. It's even better to have you as a neighbor, and, yeah. I'm kinda speechless, cause I still can't wrap my head around that you're not running again, so. Good luck, Paul.
Thank you, Jerry.
Jason?
Paul, it's Jay, wrapping up my 3 years as selectman, Sitting next to you through most of those, I learned quite a bit, and I appreciate your words of wisdom and nuggets on decorum that I wouldn't have learned otherwise. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
And for me, I think we actually have one more meeting after the town meeting, Paul.
We just scheduled that.
We just scheduled it, so there might be one more. But just wanted to say that. But yesterday I had my 10-year anniversary of being sworn into this board, and it was well documented how I got here. And you and I didn't always see eye to eye at the beginning, but over time, I think that you and I learned to understand each other, then respect each other, and then really like each other. And I have learned a lot from you. I've also stolen your words a few times about a budget being a written document of our priorities. I love that you always said that. I love that you always wanted to make sure that we spent money on the right things, that didn't overspend. Your knowledge about the unions and how we budget with them and work together was key for me. And even if we disagreed on something, Paul, we always were okay afterwards. And as the years went on, just it became more about how do we all work together. And you always said this was the best board you ever were on, and I agree with you. It won't be the same without you. We all carry our own role and how we operate together, and your role was very unique, and only you could play it, and you will be sorely missed. And I am also very proud to call you my friend, and I will miss you.
Amen. Amen, brother.
Amen, Paulie. Call him Paulie now. So we'll see you soon. All right. That was not planned, but very good. All right. Next, student rep.
Build Your Own Shakespeare play is going on at Shepherd Hill on May 13th and May 14th at 7 o'clock. And it's $15 for adults and $10 for students, and ages 5 and under are free. The NHS is hosting a cornhole tournament at Shepherd Hill on May 19th at 6:30, and all proceeds of the event will be donated to a local organization.
Thank you. Any questions, student rep?
Nice to see Abby, probably her last meeting, right? You graduate.
Yeah. I have a game next weekend, so
Okay.
yeah, I won't be able to make that.
Good. I think she did a nice job, Mr. Chair. She brought a lot of laughs and good knowledge and good reports from the stuff going on up on Shepherd Hill.
What's the future hold?
Yep. Yeah, where you gonna go? You told us
I'm
before.
going to UMass Lowell.
UMass Lowell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good for you.
that's my alma mater.
Really?
It was. All right.
We can
That's
always
awesome.
rethink it.
Not
Yeah,
chemical
you can always
engineering.
rethink it.
You got a good chemical? I wouldn't recommend it at all. I really wouldn't. Congrats, Abby.
Thank
Well,
you.
well,
Thank you.
That's fantastic. I skipped over departments. Jeff, do you have anything else? Steven?
Just a couple of things, and I'm glad that our student rep was the buffer between the farewell messages to Paul and department communications, but I'll extend my thanks and well wishes to Paul as well, because he was a member of the Police Evaluating Committee when I was appointed back in 1988 as a part-time officer, and yeah, so we were in contact with a lot of things over the years. Even I think he might have been on when I was going through the full-time process back in 1990 as well. And but certainly in my 19 years as chief, he's been on the Board of Selectmen for most of that time. And certainly I had some challenges early on in my my tenure as chief, and I really owe a debt of gratitude to Paul for his support, his fairness, and his diligence and everything when it came to me. So I owe him a great deal of thanks as well. So glad I had this opportunity to do that. And all the best to you, Paul. I think you'll be able to enjoy yourself a little bit now. We did our renovations of our dispatch area, so you might see some of the things down there. Bay Path did a great job with painting it. They rebuilt some new desks and things down there. We're about 90% finished. They're waiting to finish off a counter and some mailboxes and different things. We put up some window tinting in there, so we're trying to make some adjustments to that too, to help utilize the space a lot better. But I really thank them for all their help with it there. Was able to make it this weekend, but I know the parades all took place on Saturday, the Lily Parade and everything, and I heard everything went off really without a hitch. And there was one thing that we had put out. There was I had some contact with the Catholic churches over the weekend. That there was some talks about possibilities of disrupting masses, all in association with the leaked opinion from the Supreme Court on the Roe v. Wade situation. So we just had contact and put some extra patrols out around the areas of the churches. We didn't have any problems, fortunately, and I think anything from the area was limited, but it was just one of those things for people to just be aware of, that's conversation that's been ongoing. So we're aware of it, and we're not aware of any local threats or problems, but just so that the citizens and everybody are aware of it. And that's about all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Scott, you want to share your news? Please.
Yeah, for water sewer. First, for Paul, one thing that I learned from him over the years was how to ask a question that you already know the answer of. He was very good at it, to ask those questions. You knew he knew the answer already. But just for the sole purpose to get information out. So I'll always remember that. And in that note, today we got notification from DEP, Mass DEP, with approval to put the temporary treatment tank online down on Schofield Ave. So that will be happening within the next week or so. There's still some work to be done, but we do have the approval from DEP, so we've jumped through those hoops. Also, I know we had some questions at our last meeting. We've been getting questions about the outdoor water use ban. Just for folks' information, that is something that's mandated by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That's not our ban, that's the state's ban. We just have to pass it on and enforce it. So please be cognizant of your water use during the day, especially. That's between the hours of 9 and 5, I believe. Also, we're working on our tanks during the next few months, so that conservation will help there as well, because those tanks will, one at a time, will be offline, and that just your conservation efforts will help us greatly. So
Thanks,
that's
Scott. Good update. Mr. Carmignani, nice to see your face.
Good evening. I'll piggyback on the water and sewer. The phone goes off early morning, Town of Dudley alert, they're draining the Bates tank. Becomes white noise after a while, but I paid attention to it because it said, please unplug your booster pumps because there's going to be low water pressure. Got to thank Mr. Zakowski, got to thank Mr. Petrinos. Somebody knew what they were doing. I could have come home to a burnt booster pump, so I appreciate that. It is a good thing. I'll go through a few items that are just sort of catch up. Open enrollment ends May 20th. That's a pretty hard line. Anybody not enrolling will want to have you sign off on the declination of benefits. End of year is always the time you want to update your beneficiary information. So if you're part of Worcester Regional, you have a Boston Mutual life insurance plan, you are a public safety officer, part-time or full-time, there is coverage for you in the event the unspeakable occurs. We're going to have piles of paper going out to make sure that everybody has the option to update their beneficiary forms, to go from paper over to computers. This afternoon, we drew our hard line. Point software has been frozen, and they're making a bridge to Vadar software. What it means for the layperson is the office can't post to any of the files. We can obtain information, but we're really not posting anything. We need a hard receivable number to go into the new set of hard receivables, the old data that went in via an export from an online platform, what have you. All of that needs to freeze for right now. So as of right now, your Unipay doesn't work. We don't have a way to create a file in anticipation of the export that's going to be needed. So
I heard Unipay, that means people can't pay bills online?
it's a short freeze for now.
Okay.
So, and it's an indeterminate amount of time. It could be a 48-hour freeze. It could extend up to a week. Obviously, we will take all of the payments over the counter through the mail.
Will there be a message on the Unipay page, so people, when they go in and, well, it won't allow them to take the payment?
I don't have that authority.
Okay.
Unipay's always been there as the courtesy, the option to pay, and there's a reason for it, because it's the third-party provider. It's the town's ability to accept a credit card through an agent. We've discussed that ad nauseum.
Yeah, no, I know. I just a lot of people do, that, in case, you know.
It is a good thing. I was the first person to make a payment online, so.
That's all I do, right.
If I could go an extra step or two on that, when you go through and become an enrollee of it, you receive notifications. So 22701 is my map, block, and lot. Anytime a bill associated with that comes up, I would get a notification. You'd be able to go through, 11575, my water sewer number, whatever it is. On to other items. This, on the 12th, the town of Dudley is going to be having a band sale. We do our short-term note borrowing. We're going to do our pay downs. We're going to borrow in anticipation of the sidewalk project because it's going to straddle year end. We don't want to be out there having an anticipation of a state reimbursement on a project that's not done with funds expended. We're just holding the receivable open. Still very favorable to borrow. Insurance renewals are in, need one or two of the last pieces to go in, and for what it's worth, the notary insurance is in place and moving. Wanted to end on a positive note. We had our S&P walkthrough. Town accountant, town administrator was there. I'd like to glean one or two important points. Obviously, you can't control who pays their real estate taxes and what have you, but a good portion of the conversation, or at least the positive feedback that we heard, was, what are you doing to make Dudley better? And the conversation went towards the intersection, if anybody can't see me, pointing down the intersection down near the Stevens Mill renovation project. It's not the town of Dudley is just going to put some apartments there. There is infrastructure. There is a TIF zone. There are other projects. When the school budget comes up, part of the formation is, part of the formula is keeping up with the Joneses. How does Dudley do in comparison to Springfield or Weymouth? The town of Dudley is now accelerating that movement. There's going to be some more business zoning. It was a very positive conversation, which said to me, we're headed in the right direction. Obviously, financials are not going to lie, but we're laying down some good foundations for growth. The idea that new businesses will be popping up because management as a whole has gone through and laid out some good plans. Very positive. Was going to say we'll end on a positive note, but I did want to add that I was the first person to sign the petition for the plastic bags, good, bad, or indifferent. He needed 10 signatures. Obviously, his signature and his parents' signature only go so far, so I grew broad shoulders and decided to sign it. Obviously, very respectful of what the Board of Health has to deal with, the Commissioner of Buildings, Nelson Burlingame, and the board in front of me, as well as the town administrator. It's a big ask, and normally you would want these things to come internally. He asked for a hand, and I gave it to him. So I wish him well. Hopefully we can take a step forward and find the right way to do things. So on that note, thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you, Reg. All right, anybody else? I think that's it. Carrie, would you like to, Mr. Johnson?
Just one other thing, I just noticed that Dudley Charlton Education Foundation has an event Friday night at Heritage, so go on their site if you want their Uncorked Untapped event.
Oh, I think that's not good.
Mr. Chair, too, real quick.
Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. Carmignani touched on it. I think the administrator mentioned it the other day. Wednesday is the public hearing for Stevens mill conversion, right?
Yeah, I think we're actually anticipating a vote
Yeah, vote, so could be
for
some,
the special permit.
could be some information coming from that, too.
That's great. And I hope that goes well. Carrie, would you like to lead us to back into executive,
Sure.
please?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to convene into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, subsection 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, town administrator, and not to reconvene in open session.
Motion by Mr. Sigenovich,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Joseph. Roll call vote.
Gary Siganovich, aye.
Paul Joseph, aye.
Stephen Sullivan, aye.
Jay Johnson, aye.
John Marcy, aye, unanimous. Paul, we'll call you back. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.